Okay, we're gonna get started here in a second with group discussions about your nonfiction book. And if you're not here, you're just going to need to do this on your own, and you'll answer the questions. Submit your answers for some participation points. And in that last one, you need to think of a question that you could research a little bit more on your own, because they're going to be collaborating on it, but you won't be able to, unless you know someone else has that today. And then you could if you want to.
This is the part of this. Why freaking typing? You do? I have to do a report.
Okay, let's go. At the beginning of class, we're gonna have little group discussions about your nonfiction books that you chose for this last one, the ones you've actually read. So I'm gonna have you count off to 5, so you have a chance to talk to people you're not used to talking to. So 1, count out loud. Luke, you're 5. Zach, you're 1.
2.
5.
Let's go, Matt.
Haley. 2, 3, 4, 5.
So you want to see the video? Exactly.
3. Okay, so we're gonna have ones go over here. You need you'll need maybe. Yeah, take your Chromebooks with you. 1s, 2s in the middle here. 3s over here. Yeah. 4s over here in this general area. And then 5s back here in the corner.
Can you so I came here first because I needed the Chromebook for math. So can you tell Miss Sweet that I was late because I was in here?
So just say, left is trying he's late entirely because of his fault.
Yeah. Transfer. I was gonna JJ.
This is my favorite class. Thank you. Hi, JJ.
Okay, there you go.
Are we all going to get out of here?
Okay, so there should be 5 in each group. So if you have more than 5 in your group, something went wrong. Yours is a 4. Remember that. Who is a 3 in this group? What were you like? Oh, wait. Does that make you a 4?
Yeah, is it 4?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, am I crazy or what?
All right. Oh well. Okay, you guys are unless somebody like left, maybe. Or I counted wrong. That actually could happen too. All right. So anyway, you're going to answer these questions in your groups. I just want you to move question by question. So have everyone say what their book was about. Have everyone talk about what worked about it, what maybe didn't work. If there's anything, if you were just like, no, this is a perfect book, then you don't necessarily have to. And then this last one is quite important. So this is where we're going to build the next activity from. So you're going to tell like something that happened in the book that you found really interesting, but it can't be something that's too personal to the author. So like I read a book called How the Word is Passed, where this guy goes to a Confederate graveyard in, I want to say, South Carolina, and like talks to this group of like Confederate ancestors that are like holding a Memorial Day type event. And And so this wasn't like he was part of it, it was his personal experience, but the factual part of it, that there's this graveyard and that they have this event every year, I could do more research on that and find out like what that's all about. So share one interesting thing that happened in your book or one interesting fact that people in your group could potentially like do some research about themselves. All right, well, while you're talking, this part is mostly so that you get an idea of maybe what could be a great book for next time. Like, we're gonna do 2 of these, right? So I think I had it set for midnight tonight to choose your next book. Oh, the 7, so you already choose it. Well, if you want to change, if you want to change it, and I won't count this one as like, if you give it, well, yeah, it could be a.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, no.
So I was thinking like, why is everything like this? And then you said music, you're all like.
That'd be terrible. I really have to build some bridges here. So this first part is I want you basically to give each other recommendations about the book, share information about it, etc. This next one is where you maybe want to jot some notes down because there will be an activity that we're doing on campus for this one. You'll choose one of the things that your members say. So you'll have to remember what they say. Okay, any questions? All right, go ahead.
Who would like to start? Okay, dancer more dominated by
It's going on. That I read the same book
These are my ideas on the site. Yeah. What is one factor? There was this. Like the past, I read it. Like everything.
Hi, that's okay. I'm enjoying this group right here. Yeah.
I really like it. We often really effort. What they do when they wake up.
Oh, that's. Yeah,
So I submitted my next nonfiction book choice. Did you see it?
I haven't yet.
Okay, so it's my own book. I was just gonna get it checked out. It's called Half the Sky. I don't know.
This book.
It's about like women's oppression throughout the world, and I've read the beginning of it,
Yeah.
and my mom's read it like a million times. So
Oh,
I know
then
it's
it looks like a, yeah, it looks like a good one. Okay, so it's like it looks like it's slightly self-help in the way that it's like turning fiction into opportunity. But I also think that there's enough like factual information in there that it'll be useful. Because the reason that we're doing these is so that you can use them on argument essays. And if they're talking about all these different ways
there's
that
a lot
people
of
are,
statistics in there. Yeah.
yeah, then I think that would work great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
You will not believe this. So my birthday's in a week, right? He broke up with me yesterday. 20 minutes later, no, please, I'm gonna be a horrible person without you. Even though I bought a dress for sweethearts.
So maybe break up with them right after sweetheart.
I was like, hey, everything can be trash right now, but like for sweethearts, can you pretend that it's fine? Because we need that Facebook picture for my mom. And like, I just need to wear my dress. So you better not read it.
The book is actually by a guy.
Because I feel like I've been very nice to him, but at this point, like, I'm like, he needs to show up and look good, and that's it.
Yeah, bring him down to the birthday. He just didn't want to.
And it's Valentine's Day, so it's Valentine's Day, and then the next day is my birthday. So he would have to give me a big present. Now he has to get me a really big present. I'm like, you did this to yourself.
Yeah, but just, I mean, don't sell yourself short. When you boys out there, don't let it be mean to you at all.
I just wish he would like, have one of those.
They are.
But anyways, I don't want any, I don't want anything else, but like, he won't stop and everything, you know. And I've never been broken up like this. So I was like, I want to react to this. I was like,
people don't do this to me.
no, people really don't.
I do this to people.
I know, that's why I'm like kind of scared. I'm like, if he could do it then, you never know when this can do it again.
Yeah.
So sweethearts, and then I'll reevaluate.
Okay.
I thought that was so rude. I called Alistair, was on the phone with Alistair for 2 hours. I was on the phone with Alistair for 2 hours. I was like, Alistair, he doesn't know. And he was like, poor Alistair, he doesn't know how to do
You have
this.
a friend that you can talk to
I
about it.
know. Basically, He sent me 11 directs that said, I'm sorry. I'm just.
You could find a better day.
Yeah. It's this weekend. No.
Oh, you're matching. That is hard. Did you guys finish? Are you guys finished? So for you guys, you can pull up Canvas, and there's an assignment I want you to do there. Yes.
It was like they've been around long enough to widely
That's the one that goes
Right?
By like a charismatic leaders who would change what they said. There's like, I want to appeal to your
It's gotta be something that they can research and find out. Like,
mine was from White City. Yeah, like Chicago's going to Wolf Fair. I don't want to spoil it.
So they can choose whichever.
It was a murder research city.
I'm not sure. And you're.
Oh, basically, the entire book is the parallel to the man who makes the World Fair and how driven he is to make the best. Yeah, he like to travel.
Did you find that out?
The entire team is so focused on the World Fair that this guy just gets away with like 50 murders and like no one can do anything because it would be another wasteful investigation.
So, Dr. Bora,
Like
I wrote one into my page, I like wrote one. I can't tell you that, I picked like my pick, but then kind of about this.
I love the
Yes, I got it.
And the guy starts to walk. Once he gets going, he makes the fair, and the other guy's like, you guys should look at all the weirdos and look at that person. All we know about him is how many people.
Oh.
Okay, let me check in with all groups now. So when you're done presenting, if you need to keep or like talking, if you need to keep talking, that's okay. You can finish this when you're ready. But on Canvas, on Canvas, this under the module for today, there's something called in-class assignment and it's like nonfiction, circle, research, something like that. It's the only thing that's in-class assignment. So open that up, make a copy for yourself, and you're going to fill that out based on a fact that your group member was talking about from their book. So this is number 4, where you were like, oh, here's something interesting that happened in my book that your group members could research. You get to choose whose fact you were most interested in your group. This is individual. So like, you're not like Brennan can think Bjorn's fact is the most interesting and Zoe can think Claire's fact is the most interesting, right? Like it can be individual like that. You're gonna do research that does not include this book. So it's gonna be 3 other sources and you're gonna fill out that chart with those sources. You won't have time to go like so in depth that you read every word on that source. You're kind of going to, you know, the way you normally do research, just scan and look for the relevant information, read some parts carefully, some parts not so carefully. And the sources, I want them to be credible, like they shouldn't be like, I don't know, some silly source, but it's okay to use Wikipedia. That's usually where you start. Yeah, you should use Reddit, not that you can in here. But you can use like Wikipedia as a place to start. Yeah. Yes, just find a website where they're talking about that book so that you can have a source right now for it. Or use Google Books to write down the source, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna give you like 15 minutes to do this and then check in. Sure. Yeah, does anyone else, there was somebody else that didn't have their Chromebook.
I was able to make a copy of the document on my. Yeah.
She's still disabled.
Yeah. I was like. It's usually nobody else.
Miss Laura emailed me.
Oh yeah, I told her, I asked her because I'm like, I don't know why I'm like pretty nervous. Like, I don't know. I don't know if Dr. Kurt's gonna believe I smell her. I was like, yeah. I was so nervous. I was just like, I emailed her off of my phone because I didn't have anything. And I was like, can you just like tell her that I promise, like, I am trying. I just like literally like there was nothing I could do because it was the weekend. And I've switched it out like 4 times. And it's just like I must have the worst luck in the entire world because it's different problems every time. It's so
Ridiculous.
I
Like,
know, I'm literally
Chromebooks are
cursed.
never great, but they're not as bad as
No,
your
I know.
experience has been.
It's so bad. I don't even know what to do.
I'm sorry. I don't
No, it's
either.
okay. I feel so bad, but yeah, I don't know what she said, but I was just
She just said, Claire, let me know that she's having computer problems. And
Yeah,
she wanted me to pass that info along.
she thinks I'm crazy, but I was like, she's the only one who I showed because I had my Chromebook. When it broke, I was in her
Yeah,
class.
that's right. She did say that.
So I showed her and I was like, look, I promise I'm not faking it. And she was like, okay, like you're totally fine. And then I emailed her and I was like, obviously I couldn't show my other teachers because that was the last period I had. And I was like, can you just tell Dr. Bora? And she was like, all right, fine.
Yeah, you're okay. Okay, so like I said, since you we're not here to hear from group members. Whoops, sorry. You are going to you're going to choose a fact from your own book that you do some more research on. Okay, I'm going to pause this recording. Okay, we are going to be moving on now. So if you weren't, raise your hand if you were not able to finish that. You're like so close. Yeah, I'll give you a couple more minutes. And if you're not done, rush through it.
We're looking at your library collection.
Oh, I've got better ones too. If you think better.
We're just looking.
Kind of the ones
We
that
just
I'm
wanna
like,
see what-
oh, I see, you're judging me.
Yep,
Oh,
yep.
you love it.
Because if people are like, you know, I want to read this book, but I don't want to buy it and I can't find it at the library, there's a chance I have it. So come see me if that's the case. I'm gonna pass these out now. Actually, no, I'll wait till you're back.
Actually,
One second.
like this would be like,
Yes.
Elsie, you had a question? Beginning of April.
You know what? It makes me nice.
Yeah, I have a copy of it.
There's so many good books. I don't know.
My friend bought me Costa Rica for lunch and she's like still at the store trying to buy me stuff. I'm like, I know
Make
I
you
want
feel
a lot.
better?
Yeah. I'm like, I know I want a lot of things.
See,
but-
that's how you deserve to be treated. I just realized we're recording. Okay, so I gave them the prompt about overrated and I'm having them write a thesis statement that has something to do with your book. And I'm gonna share mine here so that you can see how it is.
I made a mistake going to 7-Eleven.
You what? Oh, I see, yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad you managed. Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 more minutes to write down that thesis statement. And again, this is just for practice. If this is not the thesis statement you want to use to actually write this essay, you don't have to.
For our sources, going off of the book, do you use the book and outside sources too, or just? do you use
Book
both?
and outside sources. Yeah, when you write an argument essay for AP, they want you to be using a variety of different examples to back it up, but you won't have the sources in front of you, so you're just sort of pulling from your own experience. Okay, I'm seeing some people who are finished, so we're just gonna go through each of these parts again. This is what we've been doing all along, so this will be review. So I want to start dividing my thesis into parts so that I know how to order this. So for me, incorporating your cultural heritage feels like part 1, where I need to prove that some people do this. In fact, into your identity is all of it. Let's see. So that's the first part of my paper. I'm going to say that is overrated. That kind of deserves its own paragraph. Then I'm going to talk about, because cultural heritage depends on the subjugation of others. That's going to be my next bit. And then ultimately, I want to go back to this idea of danger of social regression. And that will be part 4. So I'm trying to, and this doesn't mean I'm going to have 4 paragraphs. It just means that these are sort of the parts of my essay that I'm going to need to cover. And I'm going to start building my outline based on those parts. So if I've got part number 1 about incorporating this, I kind of want to just prove that people do this first, because I feel like, I don't know, some people who don't have experience with that might say something like, I don't think people are that obsessed with their ancestry, but I think coming from Utah, and I think if you were from the South, you would understand how like a lot of people do that. So I'm going to say something like, many people take pride in their cultural heritage. And I also am going to have a paragraph about how this can be a great thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Right.
So you're not, you're American.
Hmm.
I just think it's really interesting that so many people, oh yeah, like for me, I'm German, but I don't associate with that. Like I've never even been to Germany.
Right.
Well, I can.
But somehow, yeah, that's like an important part of your identity.
That's a huge part of
Right.
Initiative.
different people take it differently. It's different extremes.
Totally, totally. Yeah, Claire?
Writing it like about, like you wouldn't refer to the author in the thesis, would we? Or like,
No, because this is just for this exercise, I just want you to be able to use your book as one of the examples. So you're still focusing on your own opinion here. Okay, number 3, I think it's overrated. I'm going to say something about how, but so many cultures were like based on having power over others. That kind of gets into my next point too. So I'm going to say number 4 is something like, and so a lot of cultural traditions reinforce that subjugation. And then I'm going to go to my last point was purple, and I'm going to say something like focusing too much on these traditions threatens to incorporate those hierarchical values towards other cultures. Like, I guess like I'm kind of saying like you might start to think you are better than other cultures. That says incorporate, you're just gonna have to trust me. And then, yeah, that's it. And then the last part, if too many people in our culture do that, it could lead to society readopting attitudes that we have hopefully like progressed beyond. Okay. So I've tried to like show you how, even though I've got 4 parts to my thesis, I'm planning on 6 body paragraphs. Yeah. Oh, okay. So now I want you to try to make your little outline if you haven't already. Try and make a little outline underneath your thesis statement on your paper.
This is exactly why I'm against thesis statements. I think I wrote this thesis about how theses are hard to write. Because I think I should have explained what overrated is in the thesis.
I think that would be more in your intro.
Yeah.
And then your thesis would be starting there. Theses are overrated because they are not as necessary as we think. Oh, theses are overrated. Dash maybe. Give me that. Grammatic. I think we want a dash. Because they are difficult to. What is that?
I don't know if that's a word.
I think it is a word, but I don't think it's what the word you need there. But the structure of it totally works. I think you just have.
To develop, would that work better?
But does that mean they're not necessary? They're hard. Just don't know why that works very well there.
It will work. Once I start explaining everything, you're gonna be like, dang, she's right.
Okay.
Okay, does this, how do I need to make it, like, to make it better? Because like, I did the Thomas Jefferson one about the pirates and they were just like.
haven't read that. So one thing you're gonna need to do here is you're gonna find a way to focus this. So what do you mean by more problem? What's the problem that you're looking for?
Well, for like instance, like World War II was because, you know, Hitler was like not, how do I say that? Like with the Treaty of Versailles, he like kept breaking and they didn't do anything because they didn't want to start the war, and then we made one, and then they had like they stopped it right when we started the war.
So it's like, compromise, maybe a different word here to make that fair. It's like that somebody who is set on conflict. Yes. Okay. So then when you are, I think you've got yourself a little bit of a counter argument. So I would start with a counter argument. You say it actually does. Then I need you to make a point about when that works and doesn't work on a different national scale. Yeah, and then I think we need a section on how it exacerbates. So to give you 3 sections. Counter argument, what does it look like on an international scale? Ultimately, that you know, I actually think that maybe this one is the first thing that probably be better intro, but yeah. Good things can come from it, that's good, and specifically string agenda, right? And you might think about how that should be two separate. Scarring, traumatizing. Or scarring, are you thinking of scarring and traumatizing as the same thing or different things? I would choose it, and I would probably choose a little quite All right, next part before you can come back and ask me questions here. So the next part is kind of plugging in some examples that might fit here. Many people take pride in their cultural heritage. What are those things where like the pioneers go out, like you guys dress as, I didn't mean to say you guys, I'm sorry. Some people in this community dress as pioneers and go, okay. All right, this can be good because it continues traditions. I'm going to use my own family. I'm going to use my own family and talk about how when my dad went to Denmark, he felt like, I want to talk about me. When my dad went to Denmark, he was like, oh my gosh, everyone looks like me. Like everyone had like big heads. They were all balding in the same way he was. Like he'd look everywhere and it was just like, Corey Borg. Like he was so excited. So I'm going to talk about that experience and I'm going to start filling in these blanks. The one thing is that you got to find a place where your book fits in. So this is where I would use how the word is passed, Confederate graveyard as an example. So that basically from this, I want you to see why it was worth it to read some nonfiction books so that you can kind of plug in these examples. Notice here how you still want to have this like combination of different kinds. Like I've got a cultural example here, like based on my community. I've got a personal example and I'm going to fit in some others. So you guys start plugging in a couple of examples. We'll do that for like 3 minutes and then move on.
Still stuck on trying to create my thesis because like I can't say that feminism is overrated.
For sure. Which book did you read?
We Shall Be Feminists.
Oh yeah.
That book was so
Does
good.
she talk about how masculinity might be overrated
Yeah, she
a little?
talks about how like that's a good idea. I didn't think about that.
So either some aspects of masculinity
Yeah.
or our culture's celebration.
I think she actually like says that masculinity is overrated in the book.
Perfect. It's perfect. So you can talk about what doesn't work about masculinity.
Okay, that works.
Uh-huh.
The source of this is gonna be my so yeah, you could just like I know.
Okay, so you're plugging in as many examples as you can into this. You can even give yourself multiple examples you could use so that you can pick and choose. What?
We use multiple examples from the same source. If we're basing it off our book's argument, then
I think it'd be okay. So you don't want to run into the trouble where you are basically just re-arguing what your book argued. You want to be adding something to the conversation, but if you use it a couple times, it could be okay.
So I split mine up into 4, so I took like being in the public spotlight and like the detrimental effects it has on like, yeah. So I split it up. But I think the thing I struggle with is sometimes is like they're all like kind of the same, just like different. Like you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, okay. So let me see. Public spotlight, the planning forum is overrated. So I think part of that might be because this is still really broad. And if you find a way to narrow it down, you'll find how your examples have to be more narrow too. So what do you think is like the worst, and this is for you, not your book, but what do you think is the worst part of being famous?
Just like people watching it all the time, like having no privacy.
What makes that so bad?
Like just I don't know. I feel like being like I'm already hard enough on myself, so like having other people be hard on you.
Judgments from others. So no privacy equals judgments from others. So see if you can fit this into your thesis. Because then you've got we idolize fame. And okay. These are the different kinds of ways that you can learn this.
You always see like the money and like
Yeah, but you're right. You do kind of cover that.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think like, what if we flipped this? I talk about different types of things that leads into our idolization, and how we only see the good and not the darkness. And those two paragraphs. I'm not as an expert. And then you get into mental health issues and stuff. So what I think you should do there is you should then talk about how it needs no privacy. And then how no privacy means everyone's judging you all the time. On this specific issues. So that I don't think, even though you had it, though, I don't think they're all the same.
Can I use statistics as an example?
Yes, the trick is when you get to the test, you won't have those like on hand necessarily, but for these to practice with.
Okay, because I want to say the things overrated, and I want to say that they rely on these views because it's like more entertainment based. I want to see like how much they make based on views.
Yeah, that seems like it'll make it stronger. Yeah.
Okay. Is this thesis better?
Okay, so I get what you're saying. So one thing is that right here, you're setting it up like this is what feminists believe, but what you want to do in these arguments, if it's not true for you, you're putting on, you want to see what's okay, so it's more like masculinity is overrated. When you say put in a box,
It said that in the book about like they were put in this box and like they have to like have masculinity and like
things that like attach to whether they like protect a certain person or anything. So it's like just about
Because it makes men anxious about like fulfilling expectations. And then this then teaches them to try and put the only reason I pushed it up front is because this way the process of metaphor, and in your thesis here, you want to try and be as literal as possible.
oh okay.
But it's something pretty interesting. Yeah, and then I think we've got a really good setup for your thesis because it's like, you know, they feel like they're getting fed. What are the consequences of them defending? Or what makes that you know, and you've got this like nice sort of logic built into your thesis. Okay, yeah, good thesis. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So regroup. All right. We are now going to talk about how to write these paragraphs. So for the most part, I think your paragraph structures have been pretty solid, but it's always a good idea to sort of review what you need. So you need in a paragraph, a topic sentence. You need an sort of, let's call it an explanation of your ideas in that topic sentence. So like an explanation, let's say an explanation of topic sentence. There we go. Then you need some kind of example that shows, you know, that it's not just you who thinks this way. And then you need some analysis of that example. And the bulk of your writing, bulk of the paragraph will be right here with the analysis where you are explaining how the example helps prove the topic sentence. So I've kind of got the beginnings of topic sentences in my outline. Many people take pride in their cultural heritage. I think that works as a topic sentence. It's the reason why I write outlines is because it gives me what I need in each topic sentence. So what I want you to notice here about the paragraph structure, you don't have the example in your topic sentence. So if you are using, you know, Confederate graveyards as one of your paragraphs, that idea of a Confederate graveyard should not exist anywhere in your topic sentence. Your arguments are more based on sort of like moral or proposals or philosophical ideas. And so your topic sentence is the part of your argument you're going to be explaining, and then the example comes a little bit later. So I'm going to be up here sort of like writing this for a second so that you can kind of see, but I'm going to have you write a paragraph as well. Let's just, do you still have room on your white papers?
No.
I can give you some line paper. No. But you didn't have to write. Yeah, you can use that.
Wait, Dr. Moore, my quote's gonna be so weird because the guy's last name is Saeed, so it said.
Okay, so for this bit of this practice, you can pick whichever paragraph you would like to write. I'm going to pick my first one, my first body paragraph. Don't choose your intro or your conclusion. You choose a body paragraph.
No, but I still want you to do it. Yeah, you shouldn't have exact quotes because it's, when it comes time to take the test, you're not gonna have those sources in front of you. Yeah. On the AP test, I would take 3 minutes to plan it out and then go for it. Yeah. Maybe 5.
Oh, no. You can spell words, right, Dr. Moore? I think your heart is spot.
That's right? You stress in pioneered style clothing.
George is coming at you today. He judges you for your books.
Yep.
Spelling.
Some, those books are from, the library's giving away for free.
Wait, Dr. Barb, it's not even woods trick. It's like a plane.
It was the plane. It was like dirt. There was no. There were no.
Oh, they just go through, okay,
That's why they all died in the original. Right?
okay.
They didn't have fire.
I know, like.
Dr. Barb.
Yeah. Yeah,
I read it last year.
I know. Isn't that ridiculous?
I didn't remember anything bad.
I don't know what their reasons are, but some of the arguments that I have heard from people are so disturbing where it's just like, it makes me feel bad. Yeah, the Holocaust is bad.
It blows my mind. I'm like, that was pretty tame.
I know,
Like, I read Knives. Yeah, they made it a comic book of that. I thought it was graphic.
because, right, because it would be in images like the parts of the babies.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff.
that, yeah, like, I didn't think that was
Right, I know. There is a picture of the mom naked in the bathtub when she kills herself, but I haven't heard anyone talking about that instance. So I don't know. I know. If you do, there's something like you're missing the point. Yeah.
Dr. Bora, how many points do you get for a thesis statement on the AP test?
Huh?
How many points do you get for a thesis statement on the AP test?
1 point.
That just broke my whole argument.
Okay, you're writing your paragraph, right? Shh, I want to see everybody's pencils on their page as they are writing their paragraph. Keep going. Okay, let's refocus here. Okay, I've never written about this before, so I hope I don't offend anyone, but I think that this is sort of, if I were in a time crunch and I were writing my first paragraph, this is kind of what it would look like. So I say, many people take pride in their cultural heritage. That's my topic sentence. Notice it is only about one specific thing that my paragraph will be about. Let's revisit my thesis. My thesis is all about how that could be overrated. But down here, I'm just saying, here's many people do it. They research details about where their family is from, talk with older family members, and discover the way that their family's cultural experience informs their own. So I've explained what I mean in my topic sentence. If your topic sentence requires no explanation, that's a sign that your argument might not be interesting enough. So think about how to make that a little bit more interesting, so that it might require a little bit more to it. Then I say, here in Utah, many members of the Mormon Church participate in an activity called Trek, where young people dress in pioneer clothing style from the 1800s and push a wooden handcart through the plains. Many of the people who participate report a spiritual experience inspired by the way they embodied the struggles of their ancestors. By participating in this event, young people in the church are able to form a connection with the people who came before them and enabled their current way of life, encouraging appreciation and gratitude. They're also able to recognize how the experience of their ancestors aligns with their own experiences, finding inspiration in their own, even less physical struggles. So what I'm trying to do in the analysis portion is substantiate what I said up here about why people do this. So I've got the explanation. This is all it took for me to explain the example. And then all of this is the analysis of my example, how this proves my topic sentence. Okay, did I offend anyone? I kind of got it, right? Okay, sorry. So I actually think it's like a super valuable experience, it seems like. So, and traumatizing, yeah, in its own way.
My foot got ran over by the my family rolled it over my
Wow. So, okay, let me wrap up class here. So when you are writing these next argument papers, which are due next time. So when you're writing these next argument papers, I'm going to be focusing a lot on your paragraph structure. So that's what you're going to see me commenting on. You can write about this one if you want to, or you can write about any of the prompts that you've gotten in the past. So the grit, the living in the moment, or artifice or ownership. Yeah.